Hey kids, welcome to another episode of Glen Yaps. Um, I have a friend that his name's Ron. He's out west and he's auditioning for a band, and so we got talking about the audition stuff and how I go about it. And I've auditioned for a few bands in the years I've been playing, but not everybody prepares for the audition the same way. For me, I like to write cheat notes. I'm bad for that. I still write cheat notes. My memory is not as good as it used to be. So a couple things I do is I'll go on the internet. Most songs will have the lyrics online. I'll grab that lyric sheet, and if your singer or the singer in the band knows the layout of the song and has been doing it a while, it's very easy to follow the lyrics for the structure of the song rather than following some individual musician. So one way is I use the lyrics and I write cheat notes on the page. That was the way I used to do it in the old days. I would print them out and I'd have binders full of books. I have, from when I started, tons and tons of binders from different bands I've played in. Some books I've tossed in recent years, but what I did since getting into the digital thing, I took a photo of the actual chart that I made from years ago and entered it into my tablet. My tablet is Windows based, so that makes it a lot easier because editing is done pretty much similar to my computer, my regular computers in the house and in my recording studio. So rather than redo charts again and again, I kept these binders. So what I started doing, songs I knew might come up again, I would take photos of the chart and enter them into the software that I use on my laptop. Now I'm new to this, not laptop, sorry, tablet thing. A few bands I played in recently uses the tablets exclusively. So I'm a late bloomer. I just found them really small, so I've got a bigger one for my eyesight. Being that the tablet has to be far away since I'm a drummer. So this is what I did for the band sound check. Now we know tons and tons of songs. So some charts I'm going to use. Let's see this country one here. Now this is actually a photograph of one of the charts I did years ago, because I used to play this song with another band, and it's not a song I would, play every day. It's a fun song to play on drums. But what I'm just getting to show you here is this is an old sheet from a binder that I had, and rather than carry binders, this entire tablet can hold boxes and boxes full of charts that I made. So in this case, like with the songs Hicktown, I've got the tempo. I have it written at 122 here. Sometimes I've upped them a notch, and you ask how I get the tempo. I'll tell you that in a second. But I put little cues, to tell me where it goes. I write cheat notes how the bass drum pattern would go on a simple song, BBS, bass drum, snare, bass drum, snare. In some cases, I will actually write the notes. Not so much on this one, I don't think. There might be a few things. So, there, we've got some musical note patterns here to end it out, and just scribble. This is for a full length of the song, which most bands don't do. The song kind of ends around 3 minutes and 50 seconds. But the song continues on with a musical outro. Most bands don't do that, but that's what that chart's for. So anyways, that's the scoop for that part of it. So I do cheat notes. I'll download, like if I'm doing a fill-in for a band, I will grab the lyric sheets from the songs. So usually the band, what I'm filling in for or auditioning for, will have a song list. So you grab the song list, and I usually grab all the lyrics right away. Lyrics is the easiest. Obviously online you can find drum transcriptions. And some drum parts I will transcribe myself. I have special software, Finale being one, Music Score being another, or I actually place the notes and do the chart myself. I did that for a few. Let's see. I think it's this one. Yeah. This is Finish What You Started, and you can see my name is up on the top, transcribed by yours truly. So this is a Van Halen song. It's not the whole song, but it's got a weird intro to the drum part. So that's the first intro, and then it goes into the song. So I have the structures written here after the first chorus and when the stops are. And then it goes back into part two, which is similar to the intro, but different drumming. But the break in the song is basically the same, musically for the guitar. And so I'll do things like that. This is obviously more time consuming, but I learned how to read music at an early age, so I'm using it now. Now people kind of, I don't know if they call it cheating or whatever, but I mean, musicians have always read, like back in the early days in big bands, you couldn't follow a lot of these songs without charts. I mean, there's some guys that probably have amazing memories, but I'm talking just for auditions and filling in. I still use charts for songs that we don't play a lot, and rather than have to keep having to rehearse them all the time, it just seems like wasted time to me. So I'll have a chart, and that way I can just follow it. This one doesn't have the time on it. Normally the guitar player on this one, he'll start it himself and knows the time. But a lot of the charts I will write the tempos. Yeah, so and let's see. Now there's a couple of ways of doing the tempos, but I use a simple free program called Tap Tempo. You download it off the internet, minimal space, put it on your computer. When you start it up, it's like a little tiny screen up at the top corner of your monitor, and it operates off the space bar. So if you're playing the song, all you do is tap the space bar to say the kick drum or the hi-hat pattern in the song, and it'll register the tempo of the song. So you just take the number that's registered up there and write it in your chart. Real easy. So if you use a metronome, say you're doing a fill-in and you want to use a click track, I use this. I have a pocket-sized one that fits in my pocket or hangs on my belt too. But this one here, I have a little clamp that clamps onto a cymbal stand, and I just set the tempo there, and that way you're filling in with the band, you're not playing it too slow or too fast. Obviously some bands, they know the tempo of the song, they'll count it, they're used to playing it a certain way, so they might just say, well, here's the tempo, and you figure it out from there. So another thing I do to get a drum chart, rather than transcribe it myself, you can download things called MIDI files or karaoke files. And if you have the right software, what a MIDI file is just basically someone with a keyboard that did all the melody and all the bass parts and the drum parts just with their keyboard. Kind of a fun project for themselves, just to see if they can make the song. And you can find them free online. You can pay for some, but you don't really have to. Okay, I'm going to continue with the video. The video kind of ran out of battery power. So the other way I do charts is through MIDI files. I use a software program in this particular case called Mixcraft. This is the MIDI file. Basically somebody programmed the entire song with guitar lines, mimicked a vocal line using a keyboard, that kind of thing. I'll give you a little taste of it here. I'll just go into it. So you get the idea. So basically, that MIDI file has all the parts, bass, keyboards, whatever. Somebody took the time to make it. So what I do is I just find the drum part in the song, and I basically get rid of all the rest. So, and all you have to do is just go like this and delete the track you don't want. You can see it all just disappearing. So anyways, I've already done that just to save time. So now I just have the drums, right? So that's all we hear is the drums for a song called Amazed by Lone Star. Now, most people can memorize that song in 5 seconds. For me, like I said earlier, I just have trouble with slow songs. I'm remembering these little kick drum things that happen in there or whatever. So I prefer chart. I just find it easier. So what I do is I basically edited all the other tracks out. I'm left with a drum MIDI. Right? So I no longer need this particular program. I use it for other things, like programming keyboard sequences for my band and stuff. It's so much easier to write keyboard lines in this program, but you have to buy it. It's not free. It's called Mixcraft. This one is version 8. It's a great little program, and it's a recording software also, but I don't use it for that. So we get rid of that. And now this is a program called Music Score. So what I do is I can take the MIDI file, enter it into this program, and it will transcribe that drum part that I was playing. And I can save it to a file or I can print it. So you can hear it playing right now. It's just doing the hi-hat parts. So you can follow all the notes. You don't really need to hear that unless you're doing editing. And I might edit, like, there's a couple notes. I can take these notes out and change them to whatever I want. But you have to know music notation. So basically, there's the kick drum hit. So basically it goes through the whole score, and you can see if it's correct. To the actual song. And how I do that is I just have an MP3 in the regular media player, and I just press play. So I don't have to hear the chart. I have to read the chart, listen to the original song, and just follow the chart and make sure there's no mistakes. Okay. So this program is free. You can do whatever you wish with this. You can do guitar, you can do vocal stuff, you can do anything to do with musical instruments. You can make your own charts. Not a lot of the software, these programs do drums very well. This one does them pretty good. Okay, so we don't need that one anymore. And we'll cancel that. You can make whatever time signature you want in this program. So the other program I use, let me just log it up here, is Finale Notepad. And I'm looking at the screen while I'm doing this. I'll just start a new one. And So anyways, I'm starting a new one. You can do the scores and keyboards. I'm gonna get a little bit closer, brass, strings, whatever. We'll do drums. And then you take your drums and you add it to this side, just so it knows what music notation you're going to follow. You can do time signature, so you just go 4/4, and then there you go. I just title it whatever, and then you just take your notes, and you can add each line and space is a different part of the kit. You can see it. There's kick drum, bass drum, double bass, bottom space and bottom line are double bass. You can put your hi-hat, cowbell, whatever, I use normally instead of using a mouse, I have a pen, an electronic pen, a digital pen. And then you can play this. You can just put the notes in wherever you wish, and like I say, I use a pen normally, and then you just press play up here, and you got your note values. You got to know all your note values and stuff. I can do it from the beginning here. And you can make any corrections. You can delete the notes. You can take the whole thing, you can highlight the whole thing, and basically get rid of whatever. So, but anyway, it's a great little program if you want to transcribe your own stuff, but you definitely have to know your music notation. So that's a scoop. That's how I do my charts for auditions and filling in. I know it sounds like a lot of work, but once you get it down, it's like fast. So anyways, this is going to be a 2-part video because I think it's really long. So thanks for watching.